Oh my god, what an intro. Hello guys and welcome to Small Screen Live. I hope you guys are all very well. It's a new show, a new year, a new show. We're back doing the lives. We've missed you guys. Before we get started with everything and I bring in the guests and co-hosts and whatnot, this is going to also be a podcast. We're going to put it out as a podcast later on. It's called the Small Screen Podcast. And if you don't want to watch live, you can also catch it there and listen to it wherever you are. It's a way that I like to listen to shows, and I hope you guys like it too. Today, we've got James, we've got Sean, and we've also, I believe, we've also got Clint coming in, I think, a bit later on, maybe. I'm not so sure. We'll have to talk to James about that. But should we bring James in now, or is he... There
Comments.
he is. Hello, James. How are you? We can't hear James.
Hi, I'm good,
Comments.
Edward.
Okay,
how
let's
are
go
you?
through the comments. I'm very good, thank you. All right, so we've got we've got Danzig 1979 back saying first. Yes, you are the first. And thank you very much for being here and being on this new YouTube channel as well, Small Screen Live, where we're going to be doing the lives from now on. We've got Sean Dickinson saying second. And welcome, Sean. I'm not sure if you've been here before. Maybe you have. Okay, it's been so long. I'm sorry, I can't remember. We've got Chrysler as well in the comments saying Danzig G in the place to be. Thank you very much. And we've got Jedi Master EJ saying hello there. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing the clips. I don't know. We might.
We won't be doing heavy clips like before. Yeah. But if we get enough requests,
really difficult to edit the podcast.
Yeah, then we can do like a big meme dump if we want.
Yeah,
if people want it, and then just get out of the way.
And who else do we have in the chat? We have Bobby. Roberta Anderson is back saying hi everyone. So happy Small Screen is live again. Yes, we are alive again. It's very good. Very good to be alive. We've got me in the chat as well. I'm there.
I like that comment.
And who else do we have in the chat? We have Sean's Soundtracks in the chat saying hello everyone, back in the saddle again. Yes, thank you very much, Sean, for being here. And then I think it's just the same people. There's some guy called that James guy. There's Clint Likes Everything. He's in the chat as well. I hope you guys are all doing very well. We've got first Ranger Battalion. Is that how you pronounce it? They're saying, oh yeah, joined right as the countdown started. Honestly, that countdown was pretty intense. It's really good. Yes. So Bobby's saying we've missed you, Edward. Oh, I've missed you too. I've got to get back into playing Animal Crossing, Bobby. So we'll have to get that started again as well. And no clips and gone. Sorry about that. Apparently my mic sounds a bit weird. Is that true? I hope that's not true. I don't know.
You're a bit better now.
Yeah. All right. When I stop talking.
No.
Okay.
Now it's good.
Yeah, now it's good. Okay.
Hey everyone.
So, how are you, James? How's it been?
I'm good, Edward. It's been good. How are you? You have a good Christmas? You have a good New Year's?
Everything has been just fine. It's been okay. I was I'm not going to go into personal things, but I was in the hospital. Yeah, that wasn't great. But I'm good now, walking again.
What was that called? The meniscus?
The meniscus. Yes, I tore my meniscus playing football.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that word, meniscus.
The meniscus. I don't like that word. The minute I heard that word, I got a bit sick. Danzig in the comments saying, "Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango." It is very much like that at the beginning. Yes, Bobby, my knee is okay now. I can walk again, which is good. I can actually go downstairs and upstairs, which is fun. So today, what are we going to be talking about today? We've got a bunch of things we're going to be talking about. We're going to be a little bit about James Gunn, DC Studios, what's going on over there, because we haven't had the opportunity to talk about it with you guys. We're going to be talking about Antman, the new Antman and the Wasp movie, Quantumania coming out. Going to be talking about like the new villain Conqueror, The Mandalorian season 3. We're going to be chatting a little bit about that as well, and maybe also
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Those stories about him going around executives and using his muscle.
Yeah, well, he's got a lot of that. So we're going to be chatting about those things with James and also Sean. Do
you want to start with DC just to annoy Sean? He never answered his favorite Marvel movie or the worst Marvel movie or favorite DC or worst one.
I actually didn't answer that either. I can
Neither
answer that tonight. No. Yeah, let's talk about DC Studios.
Hey, Sean. It's great to hear your voice. You doing well? You sound fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I had it on mute because I was sneezing. I put answers on there. But you just didn't like them.
Oh, okay.
He said he's asked for the best DCEU movie, and I put crickets chirping.
Yeah. And then the best one, he said, "Why do you hate me?"
Okay. Honestly, it's not an easy question to answer for everybody. I think I saw a lot of people putting Zack Snyder's Justice League down for best DC universe movie.
And BVS for worst.
Well, the worst I think is pretty obvious. I think the
Green
worst
Lantern.
one is Suicide Squad is pretty bad.
Yeah,
well,
agreed.
That's I don't know. I think the Justice League could be the best and the worst. I think it could qualify for both.
Justice League. So
yeah, I mean,
Joss Whedon's one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I as we all know, I'm not a fan. I'm actually gonna, when we do these, I'm gonna change my name to Cranky Old Fanboy.
Well,
I'm the Mikey of comic book movies. He won't like it. He hates everything.
Sell small screen to Netflix, says Chrysler. I mean, I would love that. I'd love to get some Netflix money. That'd be very nice. If they want to come and buy us, they can.
They're gonna buy us before they buy Mr. Beast. Yep.
Yeah, and probably before they buy Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No, I think they're going to be given that.
yeah, because everyone knows that Warner Brothers is fine just giving away one of their biggest properties. What people are probably hoping would happen is a sort of licensing deal. But then again, what happens with the rest of DC Studios? Then it doesn't really make much sense. No, but it was a funny little thing that people started to do. Some people started to do online. It got a lot of traction. There was a lot of traction, which it always seems to happen whenever Zack Snyder's Justice League turns up on Twitter.
That's the thing. I think news outlets now, like even Forbes is writing about it. Like anything that the fandom campaigns for, they're going to write about it because they know it gets clicks, right?
Yeah, right. It gets a lot of clicks. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
full
we
disclosure,
obviously have to write about it because we've been covering it for years and stuff. But even when it's Restore the Snyderverse was trending, we covered that and everything. You covered it. There's nothing wrong with that. But now it's gotten to the point where anything that has to do with Snyder and the campaigning is big news. Yeah. Especially something like Netflix, which I think is far-fetched. I've talked a lot about this with Danzig over the last couple of days and getting his insights and everything. Because he's still in the fandom. I'm out now. It just got too much for me. So it's not as fun as it used to be.
Well, it's because it's not really about the movie anymore, or like, because I've always been pretty clear about I'm not the biggest fan of Zack Snyder's work. And I'm pretty sure I've been very clear about that. I liked Zack Snyder's Justice League. I liked the fact that it was made, but I think that's as far as it is going to and should have gone. All this business about trying to get a second one made, trying to get Zack Snyder to come back. If I was in his shoes, I don't know why I would even consider that, because he can go off. He's now working with Netflix. They're going to make whatever he wants to make that universe. It's a really good opportunity for him.
Mhm.
So why would he mess around with DC stuff again?
Well, he's gonna keep that hope alive because that fandom will transfer over to his other projects and hype up those projects for him. He's not gonna say I'm not going back. He's not gonna say stop being nasty to DC and stuff. He just like he's done for the last how many years now? Like they're doing the work for him.
It's amazing to me that this still exists, and everybody seems to have forgotten that Batman versus Superman and Justice League underperformed. You know, if they had done really, really well, I think Warner's would still be in the Zack Snyder business. But you know, neither of them did that well. And I know it's not Zack Snyder's vision, but Batman versus Superman was Zack Snyder's vision, and it didn't set any box office records.
Did you hear about when the Batman came out? Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's not going to reach $1 billion." Batman v Superman did better, and I didn't understand that comparison because it was like the Batman was in theaters for 42 days, and Batman v Superman was in theaters for like 220 days or something like that.
It also it came out after, like, not just after, kind of at the tail end of a global pandemic when people still weren't going to movie theaters. And Batman versus Superman is a movie that literally has two of the most famous superheroes of all time in the title.
Yeah, but it was only shy like 40 million as well, though. You know,
it was only what 40 million?
It was only 40 million shy of what BVS made.
The Batman was, it ended up with 800 something million, didn't it? But it honestly, that as far as movies that have come out since movie theaters have opened again, I think that is one of the highest performing films. I think the only ones that have done better than it have been Avatar 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, Avatar 2, I enjoyed it, but there's not much story there. But, you know, there's something about that particular world that Matt Reeves created, even if you aren't a big fan of the movie, which I know Sean isn't the biggest fan of the Batman because the Batman walks in it too much. You know,
but he walks to the exclusion of doing Batman things. That would be my point.
Yeah, but as far as the I think that Matt Reeves got the overall tone of Batman and Gotham. He kind of, I think he nailed it. Whereas I really don't think that Zack Snyder nailed it in BVS or even in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Well, and I think the Batman was a much less expensive proposition, and you know, I'm Matt Reeves probably is a less expensive proposition. Plus, you don't have all the publicity stuff you have to deal with. With Snyder stuff. So you know, it's a fresh slate moving forward.
Yeah. You also don't have to pay the likes of Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, some of the world's most expensive actors. I mean, Robert Pattinson, kind of, if you're going to compare him, he came quite cheap.
Yeah.
to the others. So there's that as well.
Yeah, and he's probably still the same profitability from merchandise and stuff like that you had. So why go with the thing that's going to be less trouble?
Yeah. And as I said before, I'm pretty sure that Zack is happy doing his Rebel Moon and whatever else he plans doing in that universe with Netflix. It seems that's a good fit. I would be interested to see if Netflix will end up giving him as much leeway as they have done after Rebel Moon comes out, though, because something tells me that movie, it might be, I'm hoping it'll be good, but there's a high possibility or probability that the film won't end up being as amazing as people hope, and it could be a flop. I don't think
there's always
it will.
that possibility. Yeah. Depends how much it is, like how much of Star Wars it's like. You know? If it's exactly
I really
like
want
Star
it to
Wars.
I really want it to be good. I love the idea. I like Zack Snyder, his work from a visual standpoint, but my problem with his work has always been story based. So give him a whole story, a whole
visuals.
He'd have been a great second unit director in the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah.
But when it comes to do it, and that's not an insult. That's, those were the people who took care of the action stuff. So,
And yeah, Dan says Netflix are not very good at promoting their material, their shows and films. So there's that as well. But I think in 2023 they're going to change that, because I'm pretty sure that, we've seen, especially with Netflix, a barrage of things get cancelled. Today we were talking about Warrior Nun, which is a show that a lot of people really loved, that got cancelled after 3 seasons. Archive 81 got cancelled after 1 season, and I think that show's brilliant. I think Resident Evil got cancelled. Like, just so many shows, and there was a period when Netflix in particular was just greenlighting everything, and they've kind of got to the end of that, I think, where they've realized that they've got to make sure that these things have some sort of longevity before they end up greenlighting them. So maybe that might come into it as well with Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. If it's not as highly promoted as it should be, will it get that many people subscribing to Netflix?
You see how much they promoted Army of the Dead, and with The Irishman with Scorsese, they promoted. It was. They did a lot of promotion.
Spent some on it, but the thing is with Netflix is that no one's ever sure really how many people are watching or how they're making money. And I know all the streamers have gotten to the point to where this model's not really making us a lot of profit, so we have to change that. And Netflix was been really secretive about that stuff.
Trying to get numbers from Netflix is like trying to get blood out of a stone. It's impossible. It's they share their numbers very rarely. Only when it's a show that's like Wednesday, for instance, they were sharing their numbers on that because their numbers were incredible.
Right, but were they really the real numbers? Does anybody know? Are those
this
the
is
real
the thing?
numbers?
Is like their metrics are also a bit weird, because I think they consider 3 minutes watched as a view. So when they do things in watch hours. So they say, it's got 178 million hours watched. But it's like, how does all households? They do things by households as well, and it's all their metric. You can skew their metrics for anything, and even like a show. What was the show recently that actually got quite a lot of views, and then it ended up getting cancelled? I can't remember. It was probably Warrior Nun. Actually, it was probably that one that actually got quite a few.
Weren't they
million watch hours?
Weren't they like hemming and hawing about Sandman season 2 as well? And that got a ton of promotion.
that was an issue. I think there were multiple issues with that. Was licensing as well, because that is a show that's licensed by Warner Brothers, because it's a Vertigo property, isn't it?
Right.
So it's not DC, it's Vertigo. They are technically linked, but that's
DC. That's under the DC umbrella.
That's under the DC umbrella. So I remember it was what's his face, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav. He was apparently very unhappy with the deal that they struck with Netflix, specifically for the Sandman. I don't think he was. He didn't think they were getting anything in return, really, for that deal. So, but there was always a possibility that show could go somewhere else. There was talk of the same thing with Wednesday as well. People were talking about Amazon maybe trying to get the second season off Netflix, but in the end, I don't think that was ever really going to happen. That's just because Amazon owns MGM Studios, which is they are the ones that actually make the show.
Right.
But I think there is a problem with the streaming, the way these streaming platforms work, especially Netflix. Netflix have been trying this the ads tier level as well.
Tier?
Yeah, where apparently nobody's gone for it.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of like, people are like, nope, I don't want ads in my shows. I mean, I don't think it was offered outside of the United States. Or maybe North America, but apparently it's not gone down very well.
No.
So
did you hear about how they present their metrics how a show does well or not to studios or showrunners?
No.
Yeah, I read this thing where I can't remember which showrunner was saying this, but Netflix said, okay, they showed her a graph with 3 bars. Her show was in the middle. One was like, and it was one bar was up high, one bar was low on the other side, and hers was in the middle. So like, okay, so here's this show here compared to what your numbers did. They didn't give her numbers, just like, and then here's the other show. So you need to do this much. And she goes,
So it's just a bar graph.
Yeah, she's like, what kind of show is it that you're comparing ours to? How many viewers? How much promotion did it have? They didn't tell them anything of that. So everyone's in the blind, even the showrunners and the production houses.
I have heard that there are lots of showrunners and people and creatives that are starting to get fed up with Netflix.
Mhm.
And yeah, Matt Jarber in the chat reminded me, which it was 1899 was the German show by the people that did Dark.
Right.
It got a lot of watch
Really
hours,
well.
and then it got cancelled. And it's like, what are you doing?
But was that a co-production, or did they buy that?
Well, that's the thing. It might have been a co-production. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because
with co-productions, there's all that stuff weird stuff that can happen, like one partner backs out and the other two can't handle it by themselves and things like that.
Yeah. The only streaming service which really, I think there are 2 streaming services that I think have longevity, and it's because they're backed by massive companies, and that's Disney Plus and Amazon Prime. They're the only 2 that Netflix. They're making a loss every year. It's like I don't think they've ever made a profit, which is not unusual. But it's been a long time now. I'm pretty sure investors are getting a bit fed up. If I was investing, I would not invest in Netflix. I'd invest in one of the others.
The investor would go to Netflix like, you guys started this whole thing. Yeah. You can't make any money off of it. Yeah. How does that work?
I think a lot of it is because of lack of original content. So a lot of their content is licensed, which means that they still have to pay people quite a lot of money for that content. Even the supposed Netflix originals are still made by other studios. Mm-hmm. There's no in-house Netflix studio, I don't think.
And there is an in-house Netflix studio, but most of it is they just act as a streaming distributor now.
And they also shut down a large portion of their in-house studio, didn't they? Mm-hmm. I know Animation pretty much got the heave-ho a couple months ago.
But with Netflix, like they'll call it a Netflix original, even though the show came out 5 years ago. If it just hit in North America now, like they do that a lot with a lot of anime.
I noticed
and the K dramas, the K dramas and the C dramas that the young people are watching now.
That I quite like. Yeah, there's a lot of Korean drama, and literally all they do is they just take these dramas from just studios and channels in Korea or Japan and just buy the distribution rights internationally. I've noticed they do this with a lot of BBC and ITV shows as well. So like there's one at the moment on Netflix which is called Treason, and I think that's a BBC or I can't remember if it's ITV. It's one of the 2 British broadcasters that made it, and another one was Inside Man, which got I think quite a lot of people watching it with David Tennant and Stanley Tucci. Awful show. Apart from Stanley Tucci.
Really like it gave you shivers. It was so bad.
It was so bad. If I hear David Tennant go, "I'm the fucking vicar," again, I'll lose it. I hated that show. I watched it. It was the first show I've ever watched in like 2 times speed on Netflix. You know how you can watch them in 2 times speed? Because I was like, I know this show will do well for the site, so I have to watch it. It was so bad. He was terrible in it.
Yeah, that and the promos for 80 for Brady. I imagine the lunch on the set, they were all having the same conversation. We're better than this, aren't we? We're good, aren't we? Why are we doing this?
I know. Is that so there's a lot of crap on these streaming platforms.
And that's the I'm sorry. Let me just say one thing because I'm old. What you were talking about, Edward, with them just picking up the shows and doing them. That's the old American network model.
Yeah.
And actually BBC and CBC too, they would just buy shows from other countries, and then all of a sudden people got into the idea like, no, we'll remake it for our country.
Yeah.
But Netflix isn't doing that, and people are watching it.
It makes a bit of sense not remaking these shows, because a lot of the remakes were awful. I remember the American remake of The IT Crowd, which I think was only the pilot in the end. And then they were like, I think they got Richard Ayoade to come back for it, who was the best thing about that show in the first place. And then they aired the pilot, and everyone hated it, and it didn't get the green light to go ahead. But like
Ghosts
one of the shows
on CBS.
That's another one.
I mean, I hated that, and then when I saw the British version, I'm like, this is brilliant. How do you screw this up?
It's worked once with The Office, but The Office was very different. Yeah. The American Office was very different, and they didn't just make one; they also made a French one. They made a French Canadian one as well.
Francophone Canadian.
Yeah, yeah. I think the French one is called The Office, or the Canadian one is called Le Bureau, because you know how the Québécois like to do that. Like they do it with the voice. Everywhere in the world, the voice is called The Voice, whatever country. The only place where they changed the name was in Quebec, where they called it La Voix, and everyone it's just a very strange place when it comes to French. Yeah. But
the city's beautiful, the food is great, and if you speak a little bit of French, they love you.
Yeah,
exactly. Sometimes.
Yeah. But it happens a lot. The show I remember that did very well was Bodyguard. Was the show with the guy from Game of Thrones that people want to play Bond. I can't remember his name now, but that's gonna annoy me. But that show was an ITV show and ended up on Netflix internationally, and it got another like kind of bump through that, because a lot of people ended up watching it on Netflix, which I think is also a good thing, because it means that you can watch shows that you probably wouldn't have got to see otherwise because they were shown. Like we would have never seen Squid Game, really. Or there's a detective one that's like a Japanese show that people love. That's doing quite well. The attorneys, I can't remember, but
Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
That's it, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Apparently, people love that show.
I very much enjoy that one.
Yeah, and that's another show that was taken from just a Japanese network. And
there's a South Korean show called Lawyer Doctor.
Lawyer Doctor.
Yeah, wasn't that a skit from something like Family Guy or something?
Slow down,
or Rick and Morty.
Slow down. I'm writing this down. I'm gonna have a pitch ready tomorrow.
Lawyer Doctor.
Lawyer Doctor. By day he's a lawyer. By night he's a doctor. How does this show work?
he litigates his own malpractice cases.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's it. That's what he does. That's the show. Anyway, that's where we went from DC to Netflix pretty swiftly.
Yeah, but we didn't even get to talk about James Gunn. But first, I want to ask you guys a question. You brought this up at the beginning, Edward. It's not about the movies anymore. It's more about the fandom. Sean, do you think it's about or is it about belonging to a group now for this fandom?
What are we talking about specifically? You're talking about the Snyder love,
and the sell ZSJL to Netflix.
It's become this whole self-perpetuating thing. It's almost like QAnon, where it's nobody will like the idea that these movies actually didn't make a lot of money. They made tons of money. I mean, that you just have that sort of cognitive dissonance. So, but I think it's more about owning that group and standing up for Zack than it is about anybody really liking the movies or things like that. I mean, it's a whole sort of like, it's this sort of like fake macho subculture stuff, I think, that started around 300 and has just grown since then.
You
Yeah,
got, you know, you
and,
got
and,
lots
those,
of-
and those,
you got-
those are the people who don't understand the rather strong homosexual subtext in 300 and would deny that it even exists.
It's so true though.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but
It's so true. I'm just, you mentioned a whole lot of people being like, when you talk about how well or not so well these movies did, they're like, just read the transcripts,
do your own research, damn it.
Exactly, do your own research. The movie didn't actually only make 800 million, it actually made 2.5 billion. You just don't know, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
Yes, it did make 800 million, but it cost 400 million to make.
50,
so
yeah.
So the profit, we're walking away with a good $500,000 on this in our pockets. Boy.
See, I think a lot of it now is a lot of it is these people that they kind of found a home and a home online, and a group to belong to. And then and I'm happy that we got Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm happy we got that version. I really wanted to see, like, if it would be good, what his vision was, and if it would be better than the Justice League, and always I always want to see a director's cut or a director's vision.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that, and I'm glad we got that, and the campaign went great. But then after that, it was just things kind of slowed down, and then there's always got to be and then it was released air cut, there's always got to be a new target to keep that group and that family alive, and I think that's what it is now. It's more about that than the movies.
Yeah, it reminds me of like when you're in high school and people like, you listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, what's wrong with you? And people would like get really tied into that, and that was their identity. These people are taking it as their identity, and to your point about there's not more stuff coming out, so they have to keep looking for new ways to freshen it up, and that's like get the Ayer cut, get the Snyder cut, get Snyder's cousin's cut.
And Deborah Snyder has to run
cousins.
DC.
Yeah, that was another thing. Deborah Snyder's got to run DC,
Yeah.
And then it was restore the Snyderverse, and now it's sell ZSJL to Netflix, and what's it gonna be next? Like, I think they should just do a graphic novel, I mean, and I would love if Zack came out.
Forward.
Yeah, and I'd love if Zack would come out and say, "No, we're done. I'm not going. I got all my Netflix stuff."
Unfortunately, that he's never ever going to do that, because I think he likes the attention. That's the impression that I get about.
Well, that attention equals money.
Still going on.
Yeah, that attention is what
though?
his career is based on. I mean, there's a certain passion to that crowd that I think you could sell a studio on pretty easily. That I look at all these people who follow me. There's for each one of them, there's 5 more. Let me make my version of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's slightly gay version of Star Wars, which is probably what might happen.
There's gonna be no long cloaks and breathing devices. It's gonna be loincloths as far as the eye can see.
Oh, God.
I'm really missing my clips right now.
I do. I actually, looking at some of the early, like the visuals that Zack keeps on posting on Vero. Again, the only person that uses that social media platform. It does seem a bit like that. It's going to be quite skimpy, I think, which is fine. Zack, that's what Zack likes. So,
clothing wise or character and plot wise.
Well, character and plot wise, it's a lot of smashy. With Zack.
Bat thirst.
There you go. There you go.
And then Act 2, smashy.
I still remember I mean, I do like the movie, but Watchmen. I do remember. I went to see that film with. I went to see that movie with my with. At the time, he would have been 12, my brother, and my dad. And there's that whole scene I mean, I don't even remember it being in the comic book. The love scene.
They don't.
between
No,
Nightingale.
it's not there. It's not. Well, it is, but it's only like 3 panels.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
and
like
the whole
kinda off
thing goes
screen.
on for a long time in the
I
movie.
can explain. I can explain why. Okay, so
Okay.
and I've had this discussion quite a few times. Right, with Watchmen, when Alan Moore wrote it and Dave Gibbons drew it, they were taking what comic books were known for and they were bringing it to another level. They were amping up everything to the extreme in that time frame.
Mhm.
Now, and this is just me in my head. I don't know what Zack Snyder was thinking, but I think he took Watchmen and he's like, okay, so this is what Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons did with the notion of comic books in the form of this media. So I'm going to do the same thing in film, the comic book movies, and I'm going to amp everything up to the extreme. I'm going to push it to that much. That's why he had a lot of gore. That's why he had that sex scene. He had swearing, all that stuff. I think he was emulating the cultural impact that the Watchmen had in comic books to superhero movies. That's just
I would go with that if I hadn't seen all the rest of his films.
but if you think about it as a standalone project, and it's very faithful to the Watchmen adaptation, except for the big squid creature, you know.
Except for the character dynamics and the whole thought process behind it. Yeah, I mean it's faithful to the story, like panel by panel, but you know.
Mhm.
It's made by somebody. You guys need to stop me because I'm going to say the same phrase over and over again. It's made by people who think Rorschach was the coolest guy in Watchmen.
Oh, I have a meme for that too.
I didn't.
No,
I didn't know
it's Rorschach. I think I sent it to you, Sean. It's Rorschach, Tyler Durden from Fight Club, Scarface.
Yes.
It's basically like you should not be worshiping these guys because you got the wrong message from the film.
Yeah. These guys are all. The other meme is all these guys. Like Rorschach's my favorite superhero, but I wish his mask wasn't a picture of my parents fucking.
Yeah. Oh God.
I've driven James away again.
Yeah, he's gone. I was in the comic book shop the other day, and I didn't know that they've actually written a Rorschach, a new Rorschach comic book. I think Tom King wrote it. Apparently, it's awful. That's I was looking at reviews up online, thinking, should I buy this thing? And I think I do wonder whether there's an element of that. But DC was like, oh, people actually think this guy's really cool, so let's make his own standalone comic book.
They're milking that franchise to death.
Yeah, they were really left it alone for a lot of years, and now it's like free. Now it's like free reign.
Oh, and that's actually something about the series
you can thank Jim
that
Lee
I really
for that.
love. Yeah, that's the one thing. One thing about the series that I loved is that they actually they really did lean on that fact that Rorschach was not the guy that you should be rooting for.
Right.
Because they made the white nationalists they were the ones wearing the Rorschach masks.
Yeah, that's what Matt's saying in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt's saying that. And I completely agree with you, Matt. That was that show, the more I think about that show, the better it gets. I
love that show. I adore. I'd watched every episode it was on. I watched it 3 times that week. And then I bought the DVD and watched it 3 times more. It's what's great about it is what you're saying is like, Rorschach's not the guy we should have been cheering for. And by the way, the people you should be cheering for in this show are kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know,
they are.
Jeremy Irons is fucking brilliant.
He's good. So good. I love Damon Lindelof. I think that's the best thing he's ever done. And if he's just left alone and doesn't work with JJ Abrams, he actually gets some of the best stuff out of him. And that was incredible. Yeah. And I love the fact that he was like, I'm not doing a season 2. It's a 1-story thing. That's it. It's done.
Well, he also said everybody gets mad at my show after the first season, so I'm only going to do the first season.
Yeah, exactly.
That way he doesn't have to worry about the ending like Lost. I have a question. Right. I have a question for you guys. Where Danzig, I talked to him about this the other day. Do you think the fans could turn on Snyder? And then we'll move on. But do you think the fans could turn on?
Sure.
Him? Yeah. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, fans
Sure.
can turn on anybody, man. It's there's a fine line.
What would it take?
I actually think it would take him coming out to tell them to stop doing something, and they might.
I think it would take a film that was a subtle yet humorous feminist drama.
Yeah, what Sucker Punch? So
I did say subtle.
What's something like Guy
Ritchie's
Madonna movie? Something like that.
Swept Away.
Mm-hmm.
God, I know the name of that. I don't know how I know the name of that. By the way, speaking of Guy Ritchie, every time someone says Guy Ritchie's name, I have to say, go watch The Gentleman.
Yes,
that's so good.
Definitely.
I watched a movie.
Tell us, Edward. Tell us about his new one. Is it not coming to North America? You wrote an article on that today.
Operation Fortune, or whatever it's called. Yeah. Apparently, that's not coming to North America. that's the story. It hasn't got distribution rights in the US because it was bought by Styx International.
Yeah,
and they can't get it over for some reason. I don't really know why. It's not very clear. The whole story wasn't very clear. I'm pretty sure it'll end up on some streaming platform somewhere. But it's coming out. It's coming out here in cinemas. I'm going to see it.
It's already out, isn't it?
No, or maybe it came out already. I have to check.
Last week, I thought.
Maybe, but
it got
it's got an incredible cast.
Oh yeah, huge, and I like. What's her name from Legion? Audrey.
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, I love her. She's such a great actress, and she's so weird in person, like on talk shows and stuff. It's great, but that movie got delayed for a long time because it had Ukrainian gangsters. So they,
they probably have to change all of that.
Is this Ritchie's new movie?
They didn't change it. Yeah. They didn't change it. They just waited. So.
Okay, it's got Jason Statham in it, playing Jason Statham. This time, I'm a dad. Also, I don't know.
He's in a Guy Ritchie movie, so there's a chance that someone will actually have him do some acting again.
This is the thing. The other day, I watched the last Guy Ritchie movie, which was called Wrath of Man.
The LA bank robbing one,
yeah, which is not good. It is not the acting in it is so bad. It's so bad.
It's a good action. You say you love action films. You can watch all the Liam Neeson movies, but you don't think Wrath of Man is a good film? That's a great action film.
No, because I don't. I love watching action movies, but I don't think they're very good. But I love watching them, and it's funny when you have the name of the actor, the Liverpudlian actor Stephen. He's in a lot of. He was in the Venom movie. He's in loads of stuff. Pops up. Stephen Graham, that's his name. He's in. He's not in. It's not Stephen Graham. I'm getting mixed up with another actor. But there's another English actor that's in this movie. And at the beginning, I know this pisses off James, but
Post Malone.
No, Post Malone's in it. He gets murdered. He's in that for about 5 seconds. No, but this guy is he's meant to be Jason Statham's boss.
Here we go with the accents.
I cannot stand it. I'm like, for the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, he's English. All of a sudden, in the next scene, no, he isn't. He's meant to be American. I'm like, can you not I don't know. I don't get it. When you're editing the movie, can you not just think we've got to re-edit this? As someone's going to get arrested by the sound of it. Honestly, it annoys me so much.
I'm gonna do my typical old man speaking in tongues act now. I've got really interested in Tony Hancock and Kenneth Moore lately, so I've been watching a lot of 1960s British cinema, and I have to tell you, the American accents in British cinema at that time leave a little to be desired.
I'm gonna bring everyone back. Yeah. That's. I'm not surprised. They were pretty bad, and like this was pretty bad. It kind of when it throws me off, and I notice it quite a lot. But in that scene, the very first scene, he's literally just English, and then the rest of the movie, he's doing like a weird, that kind of pan-Atlantic accent that people end up doing.
The mid-Atlantic sort of like 1930s, almost British, but not.
Yeah, it kind of ends up being that. And a lot of people, Dan's saying, stay away from Ray Winston. Literally, Ray Winston gives the worst accent.
Just stole my joke. You just stole my joke, Danzig.
He is so bad at accents.
He's an international treasure, Edward. Come on.
He's an international treasure. In what way? He's very good in Sexy Beast. He's very good in Sexy Beast.
His accent was great in Sexy Beast.
Yeah, he was playing himself. He's the guy from the East End of London. That's literally the only way he could talk, isn't it? It's so hard. It's like that's all he can do. My name is.
You want to bring up
It's the only thing I could do.
You want me to bring up your Amber Heard accent
No.
there?
That pissed me off so much. That almost ruined the whole movie for me. Her turning up in Zack Snyder's Justice League having a British accent for some odd reason. I was
carrying
like,
two buckets of water.
Mera is from another dimension, so it's a dimension of poor UK accents. You go to the north, you get a shitty Scottish accent. You go to the south, you get a shitty Welsh accent. But right in the middle, that's where she was from.
No, I do, but I just don't get it because, like, she was already in a movie before that where she played the same character. And didn't have. I mean, what was the logic on that day when I know they all shot on green screen to get that scene, which was the nightmare scene, wasn't it? Which was honestly, I thought
was Aquaman maybe shot after Justice League?
No, that was all shot after the first Aquaman film. That was shot by Zack Snyder afterwards. Of course, she turns up and she's like, I want Mera to be British today. It's like, but Amber, you played her in a movie and you just played her with your normal accent. Doesn't matter. It's fine.
She's a fake swimming girl. Nobody will know the difference. Exactly. Nobody watches these things.
I thought it was hilarious just seeing her with 2 buckets of water. I was like, what's the point of this character? Why have her in this scene?
She's literally carrying water for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. That's the joke.
They had a big, huge goldfish bowl full of water, right, on this cart that they had to push around. Yeah, that'd be great.
It's been 59 minutes. It's time to dunk Arthur again.
Oh dear. Anyway, the state of DC Studios is in an interesting place, isn't it? Is James Gunn gonna is he the savior, Sean?
Well, if he's not, I don't know who is. I thought when I heard that, I thought, oh, that's a choice they could make, and it's one that actually is like logical. So I'm wondering, I don't know, did we talk about this before? Like are they already planning on how they're going to screw him over, and not give him what he needs? I mean, I'm a big Gunn fan. I think he's a guy who understands how silly comic books are, and he also understands how dramatic they can be, and he knows how to mix those both into one thing, and not a lot of people do that, and it's been, I mean, to me, the worst thing I've ever seen that he's done was the Christmas special, and that wasn't bad. It's just true. The other stuff has like more of a gut to it, more of a emotional.
Yeah. But if you look
finale.
at the Christmas special through eyes of a child watching a Christmas special,
I get that.
And I had to do that to be like get away from that cheesiness of it all.
I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the cheesiness. And frankly, once I saw the first trailer, like they're going to get Kevin Bacon, I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Please count every click of mine on this thing 5 times.
Now, do you think when he went to Zaslav and the board for both of you guys, do you think he went with 2 plans? One with like, here's what we could do with the existing stuff, and then here's one we could do with like a reboot or a soft reboot?
No,
I think he came in saying we're going to reboot everything.
Really?
If
it's
the only way.
You're James Gunn, if you're James Gunn and you get that opportunity, you don't want to be
with the baggage from before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good or bad. I mean, I don't think even putting a quality thing on it, like that's carrying a lot of water.
Mhm.
And Amber Heard's busy. You know, if you get that chance.
I'm just remembering all those rumors that Warner Brothers had given her Mera spin-off TV show. Thinking that was what they were like. This is what we need. We need this. Oh God.
But if you're James Gunn, if any of us here, if Warner Brothers comes to you and says, we want to give you control of the DC movie universe,
all you have to do is have Amber Heard with 2 buckets of water.
Yeah. But are you going to sit and go, what's the safe way through this? Or are you going to, you know, I'm sorry, Edward, I don't know what the cricket equivalent is of swinging for the fences, but you know, go for the grand slam.
Hit it for 6. It would be.
Thank you. I'm writing that down because I work with British people and I need these things. Hit it for 6?
6. Yeah,
6. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, it's honestly, you could not. I bet you that's why so many people passed on it before they eventually went with James Gunn, because they probably all said the same thing. They were like, this is impossible to continue the way it's going. No one probably had a real idea of what to do with the future of DC. James Gunn is someone that knows how to make pretty good, big blockbuster movies for actually relatively small amounts of money as well. And if you want someone to do that, the best person to do that is someone that comes from the genre, the area of filmmaking which he came from, which was horror. You know, he kind of comedy, horror, kind of gore, that sort of stuff was how he started out doing. Those kind of small movies, you learn a lot doing that sort of film. You learn how to cut budgets. One of the big things you learn how to do.
You don't spray the money hose.
Yeah, and I think if anyone understands that, it would be someone like Gunn. And I think that's what they're going to do with DC. I think they're really going to strip it back. These movies are not going to be the kind of big blockbuster extravaganzas that we've seen so far, which, let's be honest, they haven't been very good, those movies. Like, you can like elements of these films, but you can even enjoy them. Like, I enjoy stupid action movies, which is probably why I liked, you know, Black Adam, and why I liked Shazam, or, you know, even actually Shazam I hated Wonder Woman too.
Good family friendly superhero movie.
Yeah, but
Black Adam was a good action. When you say stupid action movies, you're talking about the same Liam Neeson movie over and over again.
We're going to talk about Liam Neeson later on in the show, by the way. We are going to talk about Liam Neeson.
Oh, we're going to talk about Marlowe.
About Marlowe?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to get my long goodbye clips out for that.
I did my undergraduate minor thesis on Raymond Chandler, so let me warm up.
Well, you got nothing on me.
Upcoming Marlowe.
You got nothing on me. I've watched The Long Goodbye 10 times. So
there are other Marlowes besides Elliot Gould.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Take a breath. I do see he's mad at me now. He's gone again. I do think going for smaller budgets is a really good idea, because even I watched the trailer for Quantumania the other day just to see the MODOK silhouette, and I just kept thinking, like, this looks like the last 5 Marvel movies, and how's the quantum realm any different than Doctor Strange in the multiverse? And just, I'm not impressed by this anymore.
Yeah,
so you know, you have to find a different way to go.
Yeah, there's something about these. I am hoping that the next phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will strip it back a bit and be a bit more inventive in certain ways. Because honestly, Phase 4 was dull as well. Let's be honest about that. Phase 4 was dull. I actually think that Quantumania looks quite interesting, mainly because of Jonathan Majors as Kang. I think that is one thing that's going to bring me into that movie. And I think this will be good for the future of the MCU, is having a proper villain again.
It's a catalyst to bring him in, you know, like Loki. The end of Loki season 1 was the introduction. Now Ant-Man 3 is going to free him from whatever realm that is, the quantum realm, and boom, he's out. I think it all depends if Feige is going to be focused on it or more of a backseat like he took in Phase 4. You know, and that and how involved is he with this Star Wars film?
Right.
Yeah.
The only and speaking, to dovetail off that, my only fear about Gunn running a studio is that at some point he's going to want to go make a movie, isn't he? And who's going to be running the studio while he's gone? Is he going to try and do both at the same time?
I think he'll direct one and run the studio at the same time. And it may, I don't know if he'll direct Superman or not, but that's the one he's writing. He probably won't direct a film for like a couple of years at least, I think. But he's known. Yeah, but he's Guardians comes out in May, and he's still got to do PR for that, like before and after. But
so while he's doing PR for the Marvel property, all anybody's going to want to talk to him about is DC. Wow,
which is what happened with, which was happened with the Christmas special. Like if he posts anything, they're all like, bring back Affleck, bring back Cavill, bring back the Snyderverse. But anyways,
it must be such a headache for him.
It's got to be so frustrating. So frustrating. Yeah. But he's good at juggling though, because he was directing Peacemaker and then he did Guardians 3 after or before that, I can't remember. But he's really good at multitasking that way. And then he wrote Peacemaker in a couple weeks or 1 month during the pandemic. Like he stays busy. So I can see him doing one film like maybe every 3 years or something. It depends how big the film is. And I think Superman would be ginormous to do that film and run the studio at the same time.
I don't think he'll do Superman.
Really? I think he would, because that's sort of the golden goose. That's the one that all people like us look at and go, why is Superman so hard, and why isn't Superman the top performing thing of all time? And to just write that and walk away for it from him, just like would feel like the job's half done.
Maybe. I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about, there are a lot of directors that you probably like to. I really like the idea of the director that does the Mission Impossible movies.
Brian De Palma.
I'm forgetting. No,
Christopher McQuarrie.
Christopher McQuarrie. I like the idea of McQuarrie doing a Brian De Palma. Is he still alive, De Palma?
Yeah.
I'd like a Brian De Palma Superman.
I would like a Brian.
That would be cool.
There was an old colleague of mine that had for some reason just absolutely hated Brian De Palma, and I was like, why? He's made like some of my favorite movies.
Hold on, I feel like I have to reply to Matt.
Go on.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up because I know
I apologize, but I saw it. And I'm like,
I know you have an answer for this.
He doesn't have to be relatable. He has to be noble. He has to be someone to look up to. Superman's not a hero who's going to be your pal. Superman's a hero who's going to be your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best version of Superman we've ever had is still going to be Christopher Reeve, because that's what they got right in that character. I think that there was that aspect of that, and it was very much lacking in the Henry Cavill version of the character. Because I love that performance, especially in Man of Steel. But let's be honest, in Man of Steel, he's not there yet, is he? He's quite selfish.
No, I like the performance, and I like the idea of the character. It's just not Superman to me. It's like
not yet. He's not.
When you talk about Batman movies, like once you put armor on it, and I realize I'm cranky about this, but once you put armor on him, he's not Batman anymore. He's he's somebody else. So
once you put him in a great big tin suit and make him look like Lego Batman, it's no longer Batman.
I don't think he gives a shit if he lives or dies.
No.
That's where I think Batman is.
It's true. Yes, I agree with your take, actually, and that maybe I am hoping that there'll be that element in the James Gunn script, because I do get the impression that he is someone that seems to understand Superman. I honestly think he understands Superman a heck of a lot more than Zack Snyder did.
Yeah, it's very apparent in Brightburn.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, there's that is Superman, isn't it? God, that movie was so bad. I was very disappointed with that film.
But conceptually, it's good.
Yes.
But you have to know the character to get there.
Yeah.
With Brightburn, but I agree. It was another one of those things like, why isn't this better? This seems like a very ABC, just fill in the blocks.
He wrote and produced that though. He didn't direct it.
I'm not even sure if he wrote that film. I think he just produced it.
Oh really?
I'm not sure if he wrote it. He might have a story by credit, but I'm pretty sure he didn't write the whole script.
Yeah,
like he probably came
screenplay.
up with
Brian Gunn and Mark Gunn wrote it.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, it was his brothers, wasn't it, or his cousins or something? Yeah,
Zack Snyder's cousin.
Yeah, yeah. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm actually very optimistic because I feel like finally there's someone that's at the helm of these DC films that actually cares about the comic books and actually understands how films are made, as opposed to producers that have been in charge for a very long time. Even though I actually think Walter Hamada is a very good producer, I do. Like The Conjuring, what he did with the Conjuring universe was pretty insane. That franchise went on to make $2 billion, and the movies wouldn't cost nothing to make.
Joker.
And Joker, he was.
But
yeah, I have my problems with Joker, but the idea and the concept of going after the characters that way, I think, is brilliant, and I'd like to see more stuff done like that.
Yeah, yeah,
like more Scorsese superhero films.
Yeah,
yes. Next, I want to rip off Panic in Needle Park, and that's how I'm going to tell the Green Arrow Speedy story.
We'll have like Goodfellas, but it's Young Justice.
Yeah. No, Goodfellas is Teen Titans.
For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a Batman.
I've always wanted to watch my parents get murdered in front of me. That's been a dream.
I wonder what Casino could be in the DC universe.
Oh, that would be
the Maxwell Lord story.
Yeah, yeah. And then you could bring in the underground fight club that Black Canary and Wildcat used to run into.
Oh yeah.
You could add that into the Maxwell Lord story.
Yeah, well, that's still going on. All that stuff with Todd Phillips, isn't it? So what does Dan say? I would worry he'd apply his comedic tone to all DC properties. Now I hear this a lot about his people not liking his comedic tone. I don't really understand that. I'm going to be honest, Dan.
I'm with
your comments. Some would need it to feel. Some would need it. Sorry, some need it.
Would need it, but some would feel campy. Yeah.
I fear for another Batman and Robin. That's
a huge extreme to fear. That's a huge extreme.
And that's not a filmmaker's decision. Batman and Robin was all studio decisions every step of the way.
Yeah. But the thing is, okay, James Gunn's humor is crass. That his humor is quite crass, and he sometimes goes a little bit too far. I do agree, but I don't really think it's an issue. I with James Gunn movies, I never think that the humor is a problem. It's. I think there are other elements of his films that I feel. I mean, I can't really explain. I've actually liked most of his movies that he's made. The only one that probably that he was involved with. So sometimes he when his more kind of gory stuff, he goes a bit too far. But that's what he's like. He wants to push the boundaries of whatever he's doing. He likes to shock people. That's what he's always been about.
Yeah. And he uses the humor to get you into the character. They're not making fun of the characters. He's using the humor to pull you in and become involved with the characters.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people had problems with the finale of Peacemaker, where they made the fish joke with Aquaman. I know a lot of people, for some reason, took against that. I actually thought it was quite funny. Because that's literally, that joke was, I think, taken almost verbatim from Family Guy. Anyway, and I always thought that was quite amusing when they made fun of Aquaman.
But it's also
you
been
know,
a gag too in the comics for how long?
yeah,
you
it
know?
has.
In,
But people
in
seem
the
to
animated
really,
series too.
people seem to really dislike that joke. I honestly, I didn't really have a big problem with it at all. I actually thought it was quite funny. I laughed.
Yeah, it pretty much bounced off me, and I'm a little attached to Aquaman. So
yeah. I thought it was good. That makes it an interesting point. Says the entire season of Peacemaker was essentially spouting off QAnon nonsense against superheroes, only to have it somewhat confirmed in the end. It was hysterical. I kind of agree with that. I think there was a lot of I think James Gunn took quite a lot of inspiration from what was going on with the whole QAnon conspiracy stuff as well. Yeah. I honestly think I think I keep on saying the same thing, but I'm optimistic for the future of DC Studios more than I have been in a long time. I think someone like Gunn is he's produced movies, he's made movies, he's written movies. He's done basically everything you can do in Hollywood. I think he deserves this next step, and I think people need to back off and need to let him do what he wants to do. And if the movies he ends up making are bad, then yes, by all means, have a go at him and ask for change. But give the guy a chance.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel like
judge
people aren't giving.
Well, they were bashing him like less than a month after he was announced that he was head of DC Studios with Peter Safran.
Yeah, literally. I think the hashtag Fire James Gunn started trending immediately after he was announced as the head of DC Studios.
Well, and everybody wants him to make a okay, you're the head of DC Studios. What are you going to do? And they want him to lay out the whole plan in a day, and that's not how it works, and that's not how he's going to put it together. I mean, you need a little bit of patience. Everybody wants to know everything before the movie's made anymore, and to me, that sucks a lot of the fun out of it.
I completely agree. And we did talk a little bit about Marvel. I think we should move on to. We talked a little bit about Antman and the Wasp: Quantumania. Such a mouthful of a title. That these Marvel movie titles are just getting longer and longer and longer.
But at least it's not like Ant-Man 3. I mean, at least they're trying something different than
Yeah, it's true.
Rocky 14.5.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Yeah. But I get the sense that you're not that excited for this movie, Sean.
Quantumania? No, I'm deep into Marvel fatigue. Like they've done everything I always wanted to see it done in a superhero movie. So what now? I like the cast. I like the director. I like the ideas. I'm just like, when I see the trailer, it's like, well, this is the last 3 Marvel movies. This doesn't look any different. So, move ahead somehow.
What intrigues me is Peyton Reed. His Ant-Man films have always capped a phase or started a new phase, and it's been kind of low key. And he said, I want this to be a big epic. I want my film to be epic and not just like a bookend to a phase or a start of a phase. So I'm interested to see what scope he goes with this and how he pulls it off. Because I really liked Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I thought that was a great film. I had a lot of fun with that. So for him to dial it up more, it's going to be very interesting to see. Everyone's like, yeah, Kang. Everyone, Jonathan Majors. I'm like, yeah, he was great at the end of Loki. But I guess like you, Sean, like the last 2 Marvel movies, like it's good that we have another Marvel big bad, but is it just going to be the same thing?
Yeah, and I do like him a lot. I think he's a really good actor, but we don't know what he's about yet.
Yeah,
and I think
character.
I think
which one?
Yeah, which Kang?
Yeah.
I just don't see it coming together yet. I don't see what's going on. So the last thing was a driver, and you got to see every one of those movies, and you got to see these characters the way, for me, I had conceived of them. And now it's like, well, we've got that. Now what are you going to do? Because part of the issue is, I think, Infinity War and Endgame, you lost half the universe and you brought half the universe back. Now what do? It's like great trick, Daffy, but you can only do it once.
Yeah.
So now is the threat going to be the whole universe? Does that have like any kind of like conceptual meaning to anybody?
It's a difficult one though, isn't it? Because it's like
Well, it's not half the universe, so it's a double threat, right?
The thing is that, you know, stories, big epic stories have an end, and we're not going to allow that to happen with these characters because they're too much of a money-making machine. So my question is there a way forward that's good narratively, or is it just going to be feeding the beast more and more from now on? When you look at what Marvel and DC are doing in the comics, sometimes you think about, is this thing just outlived what it can do? I don't know. I'm not saying it has. I'm saying it's a good question.
I had a question for you actually about the comics, because I've been going back into buying physical comic books, and there was a comic book that came out recently, I think, called Fantastic Four Full Circle, which is a comic book by Alex Ross. Apparently it's amazing. Have you read it? Have you read the book or not?
No. I sort of like get tired of that stuff that just sort of rehashes other Marvel stuff, and that was my opinion of that. What that is, if it's not, I'd certainly like to take a look at it.
Well, I bought it anyway, so I'll let you know. I'll read it later this week. I was very excited because I was reading. I wanted to get some new comic books, and that was one of the ones that a lot of people were recommending. Another one was, is it called A Thirst for Vengeance or something? It's an Image comic, and A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance it's called. And I'm pretty sure. Go on.
Go ahead, you.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the guy, the main character in the book, is based off Benedict Wong, the guy that plays Wong. I've read the first two volumes. Very good, very gory, very good. That's all I'll say. I highly recommend that.
Have you guys read Planetary?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, they had a good spin on the Fantastic Four in that. I like that.
My favorite one was the Tomorrow League or whatever thing from Alan Moore's 1963.
Yeah.
My favorite take on Fantastic Four lately was Wade's run. I thought he really sort of nailed it. I've been reading Wade's World's Finest lately, which I like, but it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. It feels like it's, a little too fan servicey.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit like what's happening with the Marvel Cinematic Universe now, isn't it? It's a bit too fan servicey.
Yeah. They're talking about the other day. They announced that they were talking, or the rumor is that they're talking to Aaron Driver for Reed Richards. And I thought,
Adam Driver,
yeah, that's a pretty good idea. And then today the thing was that it's they're talking to Momoa about some sort of major part. Like they cast him as Ben Grimm. That cast him as Ben Grimm. That's the most obvious thing ever. Yeah, I know it's probably could be.
I know. Like we did cover that on small screen. And I felt a bit bad for that because it comes from an outlet that is not very reputable. let's just say that. So the whole Jason Momoa thing, because honestly, I think the only thing that Jason Momoa is going to be doing is playing Lobo. I'm pretty sure that's signed and sealed and going to be delivered. He's made that very clear, actually.
Good.
Yeah. But I don't. Ben Grimm. Honestly, I don't really know who could play Ben Grimm. It's
people were hoping Sabretooth for Momoa.
Sabretooth would be more interesting, but I just don't. I'm not even too keen on Adam Driver as Mr. Fantastic. I think that. I think
you don't think the sexy tree trunk would be good Reed Richards?
Well, the thing is, we all know that Adam Driver can never ever cut his hair, can he? Because if he cuts his hair, he'll look ridiculous.
He loses his power.
Didn't he just cut it in the latest film?
Maybe a bit, but not all the way. He's still got some hair going over his ears. He's never going to go full. He's never going to show those those things. I don't think.
It was Black Klansman, and he learned his lesson.
Yeah, that was a really good movie. But it's
like John
it-
Krasinski ears in Doctor Strange too.
John.
no,
that's
thank
the
you.
thing. John
We
Krasinski
did it.
just looks goofy. He looks so. I just finished watching Jack Reacher season 3. I love Jack
Great
Reacher,
series, yeah.
but the thing is, I just cannot take him seriously. He looks so goofy. I'm like,
No,
you
not
are
Jack
not as
Reacher.
PIA.
Ryan.
Jack
Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
They're both called Jack. It's JR. Come on, guys. Be more inventive. You know, your secret agent names. But I liked the third season of Jack Ryan, but he is super goofy looking, and he's way too goofy. And he's too goofy to be to even be like Mr. Fantastic, who's literally like Elastic Man. So
that was the thing in Multiverse of Madness. Like, oh, okay, well, he's not bad. It's just because I'm not crazy about him, not bad. And then the spaghetti death scene was hilarious.
Did you see the spaghetti? Yeah. Did you see the spaghetti effect again in the Ant-Man and the Wasp? Quantumania trailer?
Yes, it's there again.
They're loving
it's
it.
the
Is it there
same
again?
effect.
Yeah.
That was probably which is the VFX house they use a lot. It's not. Do they still use ILM? It's not ILM, is it? They use. I think it is ILM. No, it is ILM that they use, and I'm pretty sure they just go reuse. Like they're like, we need a scene where it's like they kind of disintegrate. We'll just reuse the spaghetti scene. It's like do that. I'm pretty sure if you watch the YouTube channel, what's it called, the VFX Artist Reacts thing, that they'll do a thing about that. But that is the exact same effect. I noticed it when I watched the trailer. It's the spaghetti effect. That's what it's going to be called from now on.
Danzig's got a good question. Do we think MCU will improve now Big Papa Iger is back? Was Chapek hindering Feige?
Well,
Feels like Feige had been spread too thin.
I have a bit of news about that, actually. That not sure if I should say it here. I will. Doesn't matter. There were a lot of edicts apparently under Chapek. One of them was that the movies couldn't go over 2 hours long. That was
I'm actually kind of on board with that.
Yeah, but that was the same thing that Warner Brothers tried to do with the DC movies, which I suppose when you're asking Zack Snyder to cut his movie under 2 hours, it ain't gonna happen. But there was stuff like that, and a lot of people, a lot of the different studios. That's pretty well documented that there were warring factions within Disney under Chapek. No one was happy. Nobody was happy, and they're literally rolling back everything that he did. They recently rolled back the price hikes at the Disneyland parks, whatever they're called in America. So all those price hikes have already been rolled back. Apparently those edicts that were implemented on all their movies have now just been lifted. They're saying, no, don't bother with that stuff anymore. Just do. Iger, the very first thing I think he did was say, just do what you were originally planning on doing. One of the things I think they're looking for is somebody to come in and actually oversee a lot of the movies that are being released. Like the guy that was doing that before is now at Warner Brothers. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Iger literally got him out of retirement, and then when Iger left, he left. I can't remember his name. I'm forgetting everybody's names, but they're looking for someone like that to oversee a lot of the movies that are being released in 2023 and 2024 up until 2025. So there are a lot of changes happening. I think the Chapek era was pretty catastrophic, actually, for a lot of these movies, which is probably another reason why Phase 4 was so bland. I think a lot of corners were cut. And they were put under a lot of pressure to get the movies out. I even heard that Feige didn't want to release. He wanted to delay a lot of the films. Apparently, they weren't allowed to. That was something that I heard. I haven't been able to confirm it. Alan Horn, that's his name. Alan Horn. Thank you, Dan. Yes, there's everybody. Alan Horn was the guy before. They're looking for someone in the same ilk as Alan Horn, which will be very difficult. But there'll be someone
yeah.
out there that can do that job.
There aren't a lot of Alan Horns out there.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems I do worry a bit about, because I really was struggling with Marvel fatigue for a long time, especially with the last few movies, and was it
TV
Falcon and the
shows.
Winter Soldier? The TV shows I found just so dull at a certain point.
I do too, and I was just thinking the other day because of Jeremy Renner's accident. Like, I kind of liked Hawkeye. That was the best one because that seemed to be a good sort of bridge between the movie and the show, and it was not just an action thing. It was about this guy sort of coming to terms with where he is in this world.
Why did it have to take 3 episodes to get good though? Like with most of these shows, I know.
I like the first one. I did like the first one. I did.
I'm with you,
okay,
Sean.
but
I remember that James and I had this discussion. James was like, "Do you like this show?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it." And James was like,
yeah, but you watched it on your mobile. That's why. On your mobile
I watched
device.
it on my iPad.
For the Americans, that's a cell phone.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember if it was a cell phone or if it was his iPad, so I played it safe with mobile device. But yeah, where did you watch it? It was McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched it on my big screen TV with my sound bar, and I was pretty happy with it. If you just the thing at Rod, see, I don't care about that much though.
No, but not even the effects, but like he's looking over the bridge, and you can see it's a green screen sky behind him. Why not just film him looking over
sorry.
a bridge?
You gave me that. You give me that Rogers the musical scene, and I'm like, all right, I owe you at least 3 more episodes.
James, whenever you watch your old timey movies that you like to watch, you like your noir thrillers, and there's always the scene of them driving in the car, and they're like this, right? They got the wheel like that. And
the rear screen, the rear projection,
straight. It's just
and then they start getting chased.
Yeah, it's like, and you're fine with that. You're like, this is old school filmmaking. I like it. But the minute it's like, oh, I can see that's green screen. I can see that's not real.
When I watch an old movie like that, I can sort of like forgive that sort of stuff because of the time.
Because of technical limitations. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but if anyone was there, would they have been like, there was a movie I was watching the other day with Cary Grant in it. He was literally doing that. I was like, is there no one on set going, Cary, have you driven a fucking car? So if you go like that, you ain't going straight. I could tell you that. So
and I do wonder about, like, you've got people who are like Cary Grant who are like really good actors. Really good, and then you put him in this fake car, and all of a sudden they're like become Beanie and Cecil.
Yeah, it's like James Stewart in a car. You see, I'm going straight now. You see,
Spencer Tracy. I won 3 Academy Awards in a row. I'm a really good actor.
See, when you're watching those, you're already in a suspension of disbelief because you know the time period it came in from. Right, and you know what kind of film you're watching. But when you're watching a brand new Marvel show, right, it was one of the first ones out of the gate was after WandaVision, right? So it was like the end of it's a Christmas one. So when you're watching that, and if you see, oh, it's Jeremy Renner, he's standing over a bridge, and then you can tell it was composited. It just takes me out of the moment. Like, can you guys not take an extra 2 hours to fix that?
I can understand both sides, but I didn't. What you're talking about in Hawkeye, I never noticed, and in the old movies, I've just watched so many old movies that I just go with it. I mean, I talked to a directing student years ago who watched Strangers on a Train and said the tennis thing just really bothered me. Like, really? That's what bothers you? It's like one of the greatest suspense movies I've ever played, and you're watching it going, this guy can't really play tennis. What?
I'm not one of those people.
Strangers on a Train is fantastic. I love that movie. Honestly, I joke.
That's one of the movies. Every time I come across it on Turner Classic Movies, I have to watch the whole rest of it.
Did you watch the remake?
Alone is fantastic.
Did you watch the remake?
No,
you didn't watch. You didn't watch Do Revenge?
Oh, is that the remake? Yeah, it kind of is.
No. It's just
there's,
when we
well, there's
did
a lot of,
when we did
there's
that
a lot of
video.
Hitchcock stuff.
When
you
we did
put
that
Strangers
video
on
on the
Train?
other channel, yeah, we had to make it interesting, so we tied it to Strangers on Train.
There's a lot of Hitchcockian stuff in that film, though. There is.
I haven't watched it. Was it good?
It's all right. It's fine.
There's a difference
all right.
between good and interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like I watched,
Yeah, definitely.
I watched a movie called The Punch and Judy Man from 1962 with Tony Hancock, and my partner said, did you like it? Like, I don't know if I'd say I liked it. I was interested in it.
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of movies like that you're watching them, and at the end of the film, you're like, did I actually enjoy it? I probably didn't enjoy it, but I found it very interesting.
Yeah,
there are quite a few. Italian cinema is very much like that. I can tell you that now. So I didn't enjoy it, but I found it very interesting.
Sean has to make an exit soon. So did you guys want... I haven't seen the Mandalorian season 3 trailer yet. Did you guys want to watch it?
I want to watch it just because for all the things I like about the Star Wars TV show, that one at least is kind of kept my interest consistently.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to put it on now, are we? If we do that, we'll get deplatformed, won't we? I suppose it doesn't matter now.
I don't know. This is our test. This is why.
Okay.
Let's see what we can do. Let me find
Disney will come and give us some sort of
nobody tell Disney.
We talk through it a little bit. We should be okay.
Okay. All right.
Well, this is the sky.
Yes. You've got no sound, so that's fine. I think if we've got no sound, it's going to be absolutely fine.
Why? So with all the money Industrial Light and Magic has, why do the skies always look like our skies?
What do you want them to look like? Just full of
an
moons?
Orange sky or a purple sky or something that doesn't. It's like they went out and said, let's find a place that looks a lot like Vasquez rocks.
It's true. There's an element to that. Why does everything in these shows have to take place on Tatooine? That's like something that I always found very odd.
Because we've got that set built. God damn it!
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, can you hear this now?
Whoa! Yeah.
Our people are scattered like stars in the galaxy. Okay. What are we? What do we stand for? Being a Mandalorian is not just learning about how to fight.
It's not.
What is it then?
You have to know how to navigate the galaxy.
You have to navigate the galaxy, Sean.
So reading maps.
You'll never be lost.
You have to be a cartographer.
You have to navigate. You have to navigate the galaxy to get back to the same set every time. I don't. You look at this like what did the Empire want? Because it's just a bunch of fucking desert planets. We don't.
Was that a broken Death Star there?
We're going to build a new Death Star because we need more sand.
Is that a Death Star or a city?
I think that's a city.
City.
Yeah. Because if they're going the Death Star road again.
May the Force be with you!
I don't think she's a good addition to the show. A little too cheesy for me.
There's something just happening out there.
No, here. Oh, I eat my words.
Is that Coruscant?
Oh, Paul Hyun-Sung Lee.
He's got a bigger role this season.
Oh, well, then you got me.
That was a bunch of Jedis.
Yeah, that's a flashback scene, I think, isn't it?
I was going to ask, yeah.
They're all going to be dead soon.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the scene a lot of people are talking about.
This is the way.
I like that look on Grogu there. He's just like, yeah, don't mess with me.
He's enjoying his power a bit too much. The dark side I sense in you.
When behind the scenes, you're like, put his ears down so it doesn't look so much like a gremlin.
Yeah,
We're getting trouble. We're getting trouble from Warner Brothers.
I think Chrysler's right. That looked like Mandalore, the decimated
Yeah.
Mandalore. What you thought was the Death Star. So I think it's going to go back to Mandalore. Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that there might be an Anakin Skywalker cameo, which of course they have to do, where it goes back to the Jedi Temple.
Is it going to be a shaky cam lightsaber scene?
Yeah.
And they're going to film it with what's his name, but then they're going to put James Earl Jones' voice over it.
Yeah, the
AI James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually going to be Anakin Skywalker, like without the mask, is what they're saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, so it will be Hayden Christensen. That's his name.
Yeah.
He's got some work again. That's nice. Nice for Hayden.
We're all happy for him. I sent him a Christmas card and add Vespas.
Add Vespas. Well, if Robert Rodriguez is involved in this, then yes, they probably will do.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'm wondering.
I like the Who. I like the Jam. I like scooters and parkas. Keep them out of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah, you should tell Robert Rodriguez that was all his idea.
Yeah, was it really
all him? Yeah,
okay.
It was all him.
Yeah.
He talked to his kid. He talked to his
Vespas.
kids at lunch. It's how we got Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yes,
Actually, his latest child movie, superhero ones, We Can Be Heroes, was actually pretty fun. Yeah,
that was good actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, that's on
Oh, yeah.
Netflix. That's probably why you didn't hear about it.
Oh, well, I understand they're not. I understand they're not promoting things well.
No, not at all. But it's.
I've got to exit, dudes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
sorry.
thank you
good.
so much, Sean. Thank you for spending so much time with us.
you got a
No,
minute to talk about Twilight before you go? You didn't get to plug that yet. Next week or
Next week we can talk about that.
Yeah,
all right?
we'll talk
Great.
about that.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything.
Thanks,
Can't wait
Sean.
to talk to you again.
Yeah, see you next week.
See you next week. Bye. Right.
He cut himself off. He pulled a James.
He cut himself off. He pulled a James. Wonderful. I think that's everything we had to talk about anyway. I think we covered everything, apart from maybe The Rock. Do you want to talk a little bit about The Rock?
Yeah, we didn't talk about Marlowe. We didn't talk about Tulsa King.
Oh, we're not going to. talk. I haven't watched Tulsa King, but we can talk about
Yeah.
Marlowe. But
I don't know. I sent Clint the link, but I'm not sure.
he's not going to make it. He said he's stuck in traffic.
Okay, no worries.
So he's not going to make it. But yeah, maybe we should go on.
What I would like to do.
What do you want to do, James?
Let me pull it up here again. I would like for you.
Man, look something up on computer.
To discuss this for 3 minutes. Well, I have to. Yes.
Oh, but I didn't write this article.
Oh, that's fine.
What's about Cassie Lang?
Yeah. Did
What
you
do
read
want
it?
to discuss about? I edited it, but it was a couple of days ago. But yeah, they recast Cassie Lang, yeah, and it was kind of the reasoning behind the recasting was more to do with where the character is now, and also I think there was a conflict with the original actor, and Cassie Lang was also not taken out in the blip. Is that right? So she was going to be a couple of years older, but then lots of people were like, well, why couldn't you just cast the actor that was in Avengers Endgame? But I think they have bigger plans for Cassie Lang. That's one of the things that was we were hearing. And the actor that they did get is Catherine Newton. And I think they might have just thought that she might have been able to carry the character a bit further than the actor that they'd cast previously. I'm also pretty sure that there were scheduling conflicts which is a shame because the original actress that played the role was, let me look, called Abby Ryder Forsten. She was in the first 2 Ant-Man movies, but she would be too young to play the character now. But then there was someone else that was cast in Avengers Endgame, but I'm pretty sure there was a scheduling conflict. So yeah, that's why. Emma Thurman was the one that was in Avengers Endgame. I think it was Endgame she was in. Yeah, but you know, this new actress, she's been in a lot of stuff. She's got a really long list of just like, look on her IMDb profile. She's been in loads of stuff. So I get the feeling that maybe they just felt she was a bit more what's the word, experienced as well. So to carry something big in the future.
So that so it's not like a Terrence Howard situation.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all, because Emma Thurman was very gracious about it. She actually tweeted, wanted to come on here and say, I see all your support and kind messages. Thank you for your support. It's meant the world to me. It was sad you were all hitting news. Then it's just, here we go. On Thursday, I can only hope that this means there is something else for me in the future of the MCU. So maybe she might actually come back at some point to play another version of the character, maybe as well. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks for her. It doesn't. It really does suck for her, because she did get to play she played the character before. I have a feeling that they maybe just changed what they wanted. They had different ideas for the character and felt that they wanted someone else for the role. It happens sometimes. You know, recasting happens quite a bit. It's no
especially
slight
when
on
you're not cast in it in a large part at the beginning either.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, I mean, she was in a little part of that. It was the part where Scott Lang comes back for where, you know, the rat brings him back out
after
of
the
that,
5 years.
yeah, and he goes to the house and she's grown up, and she's in a very small part of that movie. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That Marvel was like, we actually need someone that we feel has more experience and can actually carry this role further. It happens. They just felt that she wasn't the person to do that. That, you know, it happens in all forms of work. It's happened to me before. Like, as you know, people I have been got rid of because they felt that they wanted someone else for the job, and honestly, it was perfectly fine at the time. I understood. Sounds as though she did as well. So yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Dwayne Johnson.
What's been happening with you? You gotta like fill me in on this, because I have no idea what's been happening with Dwayne Johnson.
Well, there was that report that he went around a lot of people at WB to get the Cavill cameo. Yeah. And it didn't sit well with a lot of them. And then there was that internal struggle, not necessarily between Dwayne Johnson and James Gunn, but Dwayne Johnson and the execs over at WBD. So,
yeah.
Do you think that's possible? Right?
Yeah.
He threw his swagger around and his weight and bullied some people.
I mean, not just possible. I'm pretty sure that happened. I think he was probably quite bullish in getting Cavill back, because I'm pretty sure he knew that the future of his time in the DC universe actually was kind of entwined with Cavill's and Superman's, because that he made it very clear from the get-go that one of the things he wanted was for Black Adam to fight Superman, and I'm pretty sure he wanted Henry Cavill's version of Superman to be the one he went up against. Not just because he likes the Henry Cavill's portrayal of the character, but also I'm pretty sure a lot of it was financial as well. They shared the same agent. Dwayne Johnson's agent is called Danny Garcia, who's also the co-founder of Dwayne Johnson's production company, Seven Bucks Studio Productions. So there's a lot of stuff entwined there. So I'm not surprised to hear these reports that Dwayne Johnson probably, forced that decision through. Because honestly, if you're at the helm of a studio, all we were hearing was that the Warner Brothers executives did not want Henry Cavill as Superman anymore. They were done with Cavill as far back as like 2018, which is a year after Justice League was released. So apparently Toby Emmerich was already looking for a new actor to play the role. Something about Cavill rubbed them up the wrong way. I have a feeling it was money. I think he probably asked for way too much money.
That's my
thoughts.
Like,
we cannot pay him that much money. Which
he comes from old money too, eh? So like maybe his expectations.
He comes. The Cavills are a very wealthy family. Like he has a lot of brothers. They all went to very good schools. He went to Stowe, which is a very good public school. So the Cavills are they live on. I think they live in the Isle of Jersey. Is it the Isle of Jersey? I think, which is like a tax haven. It's But
I agree with you. Family. Yeah, I agree with you. My thoughts are, I think he wanted a lot of money, just like the Shazam cameo was 2019, which was around 2018 when they were shooting it. So that could have been where the static came from. Plus, I have a feeling that like he wanted some form of producer credit on his films, and I think that might have turned them off too.
Yeah, that's what we were hearing also about the possible Superman movie that he was involved with. Was that one of the things he wanted was to produce the film, which meant they'd have an even bigger pay cut. So he's expensive, and Netflix saw that as well. I actually wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons why Cavill left the Witcher was also down to money. There's a lot of story stuff about that, though. I think that was probably the main reason. But he doesn't come cheap. No. But honestly, I don't think it's bad. Like, knowing how much you're worth to something. He might have to start. I mean, he's going to start doing his Warhammer series now. He's basically going to be the Kevin Feige of the Warhammer universe, cinematic universe, which is starting out on Amazon. So Cavill's going to be okay. Anyone should worry about Cavill. He's going to be absolutely fine. But and I'm intrigued to see who they cast as Superman next. I think it'll be interesting to see in which direction they go with the character, because change isn't always bad. Sometimes change is good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think Dwayne Johnson's ever going to get his own franchise? Because he tried hard with his Black Adam, and he wanted Black Adam to thread throughout the whole universe, right? And it'd be like the main anchor.
Didn't we have this discussion before about The Rock, about Dwayne Johnson? Because
how he's franchised Viagra, how he goes in and he reinvigorates.
Yeah, but also how I think he's never going to be able to hold his own franchise to have his own.
We
franchise.
might have, but I think one day he'll eventually have his own franchise.
Well, it's never going to be too honest. I believe this. I don't know why. There's something about Dwayne Johnson that I think he's not an actor that can sustain his own franchise. I always think he's better in other franchises where he's adding to it. I think carrying a franchise is very different and very difficult, and I just feel that he doesn't have that ability. He's not I think he's charismatic, but I don't think he's charismatic enough, and I think fundamentally he's not a good enough actor to carry his own franchise. I think he's got the business side of it down. He definitely can do it on a business side. He's a very good businessman, but there's something about him that I find a bit disingenuous, and maybe this is just me, but I do think he is a businessman first and entertainer second.
Oh yeah,
And
that's the
and
wrestling
I think,
background.
yeah, and I think that's a problem if you want to carry your own franchise, especially now where Hollywood seems quite averse to starting new franchises. They seem to like to just do reboots, which Johnson's been a part of many reboots. That's why he was called Franchise Viagra, because he would come into a reboot and literally reboot it. But I think I don't think the time is right now, and he's not a Tom Cruise.
No, but or Schwarzenegger or Stallone. That's what
Or
you're saying.
Schwarzenegger or Stallone. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think
I
so.
have two questions for you, but first we have a special guest that's waiting. You can come in and say hi, and then we'll get back to the discussion. Hey,
Wow.
man.
Hey, what's up, gang?
Don't crash the car, whatever you do.
Yeah. I'm looking at the road, not you guys, but yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening?
It's good to see you, man. You're looking good.
Hey, good to see y'all. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we got
very
you fine.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Awesome. Y'all are sounding great. I don't think The Rock has it, The Rock is kind of like he should be making super action movies. But like one-offs. He should be doing like a Arnold Schwarzenegger sort of thing. That's what he is. He's the modern day Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know about him carrying a character forever and ever and ever. That's kind of, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Perfect sense.
Because you always think of him as The Rock. You don't think of him as that person. Like after a while, you think of Tony Stark, you think of Robert Downey Jr., and you think Iron Man is him, but you don't really believe that with The Rock. It's just like, oh, that's just The Rock. This time he's an electrician who moved to a new town and they're picking on his daughter and he beats the hell out of everybody. It's kind of like Jason Statham. Jason Statham is the same guy in every movie that he plays, and that's
exactly.
that's the deal. If you're not going to make Jason, I was going to say make Jason Statham Reed Richards, but no, you're not going to do that, and it's the same thing with The Rock. Like everybody, especially if we're talking comic book franchises, people already have an idea of who these characters are, at least the old fans of comics and stuff, to where they're going to say, that's not Reed Richards, that's the fucking Rock, and so sorry for the F-bomb, but anyway.
No, it's just fine.
Okay, Clint,
it's ridiculous.
we're gonna let you go so you don't crash, but what do you got going on Friday?
Friday, I've got Versus, which should be fun. We're doing Ted versus Paul, so that should be interesting.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, which movie named after a first name is the superior movie? We're gonna find out. So that should be pretty exciting. And I apologize for not making it back home in time to jump on with y'all. I was looking forward to having a conversation to read road signs while I try to formulate a sentence. So there we go. Y'all have a great evening, everybody at home. Love you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Right
Love
here
you
on
too,
Small
brother.
Screen
Thanks for
Live.
coming on.
We'll see you We'll see you next week. Next Tuesday.
Week. See you next Tuesday.
I didn't mean to.
Oh dear, that was brilliant. And there is a perfect example of someone that knows how to drive a car. Because did you notice he was keeping the steering wheel completely steady? Perfect. There it is. Perfectly steady. The steering wheel. Brilliant. Right. Well, I think we did everything. I think we covered everything, and we'd like to keep this under 2 hours.
Yeah, we're good to
If
go.
we
I
put
just
it
wanted
out-
to ask you about
One-
the
one more
Rock and
question?
Marvel. Yeah.
That ain't never gonna happen. I can tell you that. About
think so?
I'm a 99.9% sure that The Rock will never join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, mainly because of money, which is another reason why I don't think Henry Cavill's ever going to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're too expensive. They kind of price themselves out, and with the way the way the movie industry is going now, I think a lot of studios are going to start cutting a lot of budgets. And I feel like these actors are going to have to think about, that this is why they want to produce, because that's really the only way they're going to have to fund themselves, basically. Something The Rock's very good at, but I don't think a studio like Marvel Studios is going to be willing to pay the amount of money they'd have to pay in order to get a Dwayne Johnson and a Henry Cavill. And to be honest, I don't think it would add very much to whatever projects they'd be attached to. I think it's been proven now that Dwayne Johnson is not the box office pull that people thought he was. I think Black Adam's proven that.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Johnson needs to do a buddy comedy. So I think he needs.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I think both actors actually, they need to look at other things. They need to start branching out and doing smaller
have The Rock
movies.
And Cavill do a buddy cop comedy. There you go.
There you go. There is one franchise that I think The Rock could carry, which is Hobbs and Shaw. If they get that right, I think that could work. But again, that is also tied to the Fast and Furious franchise. But I think after a while, they just forget that. They would just call it Hobbs and Shaw and not Fast and Furious Presents. It'd be its own beast. But that's the one thing that he could do, which is already kind of going. I think the second film is still in development. Let's see what happens with that. But
he wants Doc Savage too. He's been wanting to make Doc
that's
Savage
something
for a
he's
long
wanted
time.
to make for a while. Yeah. But I really, if I was, I'd love to be The Rock, but if I were him, I would start thinking about doing something a bit less blockbustery and a bit more serious, a bit more. A buddy cop movie would be a good way to go, but I also think maybe branching out a bit more and really trying to kind of, expand your craft, kind of become a better actor.
I keep waiting to see those acting chops he portrayed in Southland Tales by the director who did Donnie Brasco. Like The Rock was really good in that. It was subtle, a bit over the top when he was freaking out, but he wasn't playing his action hero or like some buddy cop film. So if you can bring that back, I would like to see that. But again, I think you're right. Like he's businessman first, so he's like, I want to get that $1 billion movie out. It's got to have these 3 arcs, and we got to do this, and we have to steal this from Terminator 2, and I got to walk through a bunch of walls and stuff like that. So
yeah, and there are other names that people in the comments are bringing up, like Batista. I think has done it.
Batista. Well, that's what made me think of the buddy cop movie, because he did that with Camille. I can never say his name right.
Camille Nanjiani.
That was a great film. And then Blade Runner.
And everything he's done. Dune, he was in that, and apparently he's going to be in a lot more in Dune Part 2. He was really good, and then he got the Guardians of the Galaxy gig, which he's good in that as well. I actually thought he was very good in Glass Onion, the character he portrayed there. He did that very well.
So.
It's a good film. It's a good film.
But I like Batista as an actor.
Yeah, I think he's got something a bit more about him.
He takes it seriously as a craft.
He takes it very seriously. Even John Cena, I think, has a little bit more. He's kind of that. They're still kind of quite early, not early on, but they're in a different part of their careers to where Dwayne Johnson is, and I think Dwayne Johnson is so much more business orientated than either of those actors are, and I think a lot of it is that with him.
It's kind of like an Arnold model,
Yeah, but even Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, like some of his action films, I think were a lot more interesting than anything that The Rock's done. Like maybe Pain and Gain is the best thing that The Rock's ever done.
But I mean, in terms of like acting as a craft, Arnold was more about the action blockbusters and stuff, kind of like what Dwayne Johnson is. And then later on, like he did Maggie, and he tried to
he tried to be serious.
Yeah, right. But I enjoyed that. I thought that was a good film.
Maggie was good, but it's like it's still something about it. It's just I think it's just the accent, isn't it? It's just the the whole persona. The whole persona is too much. It's too big.
Yeah, it's hard to shake that off.
Yeah, which is where The Rock's getting to.
But Stallone's done that very well in Tulsa King, which we'll have to talk about next week. So you got some binging to do this
I
weekend.
have to watch that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I binged Jack Ryan season 3. Loved that. So now the Tulsa King's the next one I've got to do.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. Thank you, James. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Clint, for that incredible cameo. And
great.
We'll see you here again, same time next week on Small Screen Live, and you can listen to this as a podcast wherever you get your podcast at the Small Screen Podcast. So please download that if you're interested in re-listening to this as well. You can do that as well. That will be up some point this week, James, right?
The podcast will be up tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. It's been a pleasure doing this again. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, everyone. And don't forget the other YouTube channel. Keep watching our videos and visit the site at small-screen.co.uk.
And follow us everywhere at Small Screen Co as well. Yeah, do that as well. Thanks, guys.